All right. Bar Yahweh 112 coming at you today, guys. Looking forward to a great video. Today we're going to talk about what's involved with starting to stream. There's a lot of great stuff out there. I recently started about 2 months ago. So one of the things I wanted to hit on for you guys was what are some of the things you need to do and hardware you would need when you first get started, and what are things you can wait for. So kind of the goal of this is to make sure that you understand where to spend money, when you have money available to, and where you can hold off on spending money, because there's a lot of toys out there, there's a lot of tools out there, and there's a lot of stuff that you can put your money into, but where are you really going to see the best value? So a big thank you to Snooty Wizard. She helped collaborate with me a little bit on this video, so I appreciate her input on it and definitely her guidance on it. So with that, let's jump right into some of this content, guys. I'm really excited about it. Let's go. So first off, like I said, you want to be a streamer, but you also have a budget and you don't want to overspend. The first rule that you need to know about streaming and spending money is don't spend money you don't have. Some of this stuff, if you have a large amount of disposable income, aka you've got money you don't know what to do with, have fun. Go shopping, get all the tools, all the toys, all the trick stuff, have a blast. Go big. But if you're on a budget and you only have a certain amount of money you can spend every month on it, and you may want to save up, or you think that, oh, I'll just go ahead and buy it now, put it on a credit card, and I'll earn enough money through streaming to pay it off. Don't do that, guys. Dangerous, dangerous move. Violates all sorts of debt logic and debt wisdom. So I'd really advise you not to do that. But apart from that, when you do have money, let's hit on some of those things you're going to want to spend it on. So looking at a couple of the pieces out there that you're going to want to need to spend, you're going to need a computer to stream with. You're going to need a gaming device. You're going to need some form of open broadcast software. You're going to need to know the streaming platform that you intend to stream on. And then the big part of this is going to be around the peripherals. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on some of the other stuff. I really want to hit on the peripherals, the cameras, the lights, all sorts of stuff that you can get into. So again, there's a lot of options out there. We'll hit on them. We'll talk to some of them. And we're going to send you off on your way to kind of do some research. We may give you a couple different links in the description below on some big ticket items. But apart from that, I kind of want to prep you to go do some research on your own, but give you some guidance and some curbing so that you're not too scared to go do it. So right here on this page, what we've got is we've got some of the minimum requirements for a computer to actually capture the gameplay and then push it through the OBS software that we'll talk about in a minute and up to your streaming platform. The link below will be in the description for you to reference because I got this info straight from there. But one of the things to keep in mind is these are the minimums. So if you go absolutely bare bones here, or if you have a computer that meets these minimums, you may have challenges pushing the resolution that you want or the frame rate that you want up to the internet in your stream. But one thing to note, above all, your internet speed. So we don't really cover that anywhere else here, and I don't have it on the notes, but your internet speed needs to be 6 megs per second. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Mbps. You want to make sure, otherwise you're going to run into a lot of challenges, and what you're pushing up for viewers to see is going to be very choppy and very difficult for them to enjoy. So that's one of the big things for you to look at. So again, what we've got here is you want a compatible operating system. You want a AMD FX or Intel i5 series, so you kind of got to get a dual core, quad core, or higher. Your graphics card, there's a lot of different options out there, but go DirectX 10 and 4 gigs of RAM. That's gonna probably be one of your biggest bottlenecks: your GPU, your graphics card, and your RAM. So that's gonna probably be where you're gonna want to invest a good chunk, especially if you're doing a console or some other input device. If you're actually trying to play games on your computer and push it up, you're going to run into a lot of other issues. So we're just kind of going, and this is talking about if a secondary computer is set up to capture an input device. These are some of your minimum requirements. All right, next what we've got, guys, is your gaming device. So what device are you using? Are you using another gaming PC? Are you using an Xbox, a PlayStation, an Atari, a Nintendo Okay, maybe those are a little bit old, but you get the concept. What are you using? You can also use mobile. So you can do some input from mobile, whether you do a hardwire or there's some softwares out there to tether it. But there's a lot of good devices. So this is something that you're probably already used to. Whatever gaming system you play on today is likely what you're going to be using. Unless you just want to go full tilt, all new. But that's on you. You can have a blast with that. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here on the gaming device. You've already got those going. Next is your open broadcast software. OBS, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I'll make sure that you have all three of these links in the description as well. So some of the major ones that are out there today is OBS Studio, Streamlabs, and XSplit. One thing to note, guys, Streamlabs, it's also called Slobs, is kind of the street name for it. It's a resource hog, and what that means is it'll take a lot of RAM, it's going to take a lot of your CPU, it's going to take a lot of your graphics card. You're going to have a really powerful computer to use that. I personally use OBS Studio, and I know a lot of people use it. It has a lot of opportunity to customize, and it takes less resources than what Streamlabs takes. So that would be what I use, so take that as you will. I know other people have used XSplit, so feel free to check all those out, do a little research on it, see which one kind of works for you and fits what you've got. Next up, guys, we've got our streaming platforms. This is a pure preference. You're going to have some people that are going to push you one way or the other. I'm not going to give anything on any of them, but just know these are three of the big players today in the industry for streaming platforms. You've got Facebook, which is commonly well known, Twitch.tv, which is common, and that's owned by Amazon, and then you've got YouTube, which is part of the Google family. So you've got three big players that are kind of part of the big tech family that help. There's also other smaller players out there. So again, do some of your research on this to figure out where you want to stream, the benefits of all of them, and what are the drawbacks of each. So make sure you check those out. Again, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube are the three kind of big players in the streaming platform. All right, guys, here's where we get into the fun tools. Toys, whatever you want to call them. This is where we're going to start talking money, okay? We've got a lot of things to cover here, so I'm going to cover kind of the highlights. I'm going to give you a low end and upper end, but you're going to go do the research. I really suggest you do the research because I don't want to hear, well, Bar Yahweh talk. I'm going to give you kind of some ideas. This, again, I don't know your budget. You know your budget. And this is where you get to really dig into some stuff. I'll definitely call out some stuff where it's impactful and things to keep in mind as we go through. But this is some stuff just to get you thinking and researching on different areas. There's a ton of other content out there to help kind of drive and give reviews on which item is better than the other. I'm not hitting all that in this video. I just kind of want to give you an overview and give you areas to go concentrate on. So the first thing we're jumping into here is cameras. First off, you need to decide if you want to show your beautiful face. I decided to. If you want to show that smile, I've got a buddy of mine, he streams with a mask on, but he shows his face with a mask on. So whatever kind of floats your boat, head down that path. You've got some options here. The cheapest option is if you're using a laptop or even a desktop or an all-in-one that has a built-in webcam. You don't have to go purchase anything additional. You're good to go. The other option is if you've got one of these nice high-dollar RCA camcorders from back in the 1990s. Okay, so maybe that's a little far back in the technology. You may have to buy all sorts of adapters. But ultimately, the reality is you can spend anywhere from $30 on a webcam to $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on high-end camcorders, 4K recorders, DSLR cameras. You can do all sorts of stuff. But the end state is, what have you got the money for today? Now, I know Canon, in light of this 2020 COVID hot mess of an issue, and a lot of other DSLR camera makers are putting out some utilities for webcams. Canon's has been the most comprehensive tool that I've seen to allow legacy DSLR cameras to be compatible with this device. So if you have a Canon Rebel T3, a T4, T5, T6, or something of that nature, I'm going to say laying around, hopefully it's in a camera case and well preserved, you can actually use that device with a free, hashtag free, I'll put the link in the description for you, EOS webcam utility. Canon has provided that free of charge for Windows. It is a full-blown released version. As we sit today, and last time I checked, the Mac version is still in beta, so it's not ready for production release, but they do have a beta version you can use. So go check those out, and those will give you a lot of different better benefits than just a regular webcam will. But again, it's where do you have the money to spend? You can spend a lot of money on different things, but our goal here is not to get you into debt or to spend money that you need for something else. I'm a father, I got multiple kids, and I can't spend all my money on all my toys. I got to buy a lot of other stuff to help make sure the family's running, and I'm limited on that. So I'm well aware of some of the confines of budgetary spending, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a very good discipline to have. But feel free to go do some research on these, find the pros, the cons. One thing to note is generally on your upload, a lot of providers don't even let you go higher than a regular high def. So 1920 by 1080 is kind of the biggest that most of them will push out your content. So when you start streaming and uploading higher than that resolution, you're gonna kind of be wasting that resolution. So what we're gonna kind of walk back on that is when you're looking at webcams, you can see that my camera image here is much smaller. Even kind of at the very beginning of the video, I wasn't the full high def. So keep that in mind. You don't necessarily need a 4K camera to go spend all that. Now, if your camera that you already have or the one that you get has a lot of those options available, it's not a bad thing. But just don't overbuy technology that you don't have to. Always going to be a recommendation of mine. So let's move on to the next item. We're going to jump into capture cards. Here's where I would likely, and we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, this is where you can invest money and get a lot better perks on the back end. But again, depending on how little money or how tight your budget is, you can start off anywhere from $60 and you can spend well above $400. So the things to keep in mind here, and it's kind of on the screen there, is you need to at least capture 1080 at 30 frames per second. That's kind of the big thing you want to find. Read your reviews, read all that. Now, one thing you'll see in this picture is kind of in that bottom left corner is an in-out. So if you plan to do like real-time gaming, I play Call of Duty Warzone, and so I've got to be having good response times, low latency. That's one thing to keep in mind. You want an in and an out. If you're doing different mobile games where you're kind of mirroring your device, you're actually capturing on your tablet and then you're capturing it on your thing, you don't have to have an output for your capture card, so you can keep that in mind. But there's a lot of different other softwares too. So Elgato provides some really good software that actually allows me to capture with very low latency. I can use Discord for my audio chat. We'll talk about some other things there. And then I can also hear through Elgato's 4K capture utility software the gameplay in real enough time where it doesn't impact my gameplay. So Elgato does have some really good products out there, along with matching software to help you out. You're going to pay for that quality. So just be aware that sometimes you're going to pay for the quality, and you just got to choose what you can and what you cannot do. Okay? So Elgato's a good one, but you're going to be spending on that again. So keep that in mind. You can get some stuff a little cheaper than that, but it kind of depends on what you're doing. So just kind of budget $60 as a ballpark for the minimum on that. Next, let's jump into lighting. Lighting is crucial. Definitely do some research on lighting. Go get some other tutorials on how to do proper lighting, because proper lighting is going to be great. Let me show you something here. When you start cutting off the lights, it gets a little wonky and that ain't that fun. But let's turn these lights back on. My camera will adjust. Give it a second to, there we go. All right. Lighting will be crucial. Now, these will be links that are in the description as well. You can go anywhere from $35, and these are the exact lights that I bought. Okay. So I'm not just telling you this because they're cheap. I'm using them. They're great. $35 is a 2-pack. And you can get very good dimmable lighting. I'm probably about 30 or 40% of the overall light, so I can crank it up. And when I do my live streaming, I normally have it at 80 to 100% range. Okay? Now, if you've got the money and you want to spend it on some of the Elgato name brand products, I brought them up earlier, there's some integrations that it'll do with what their Stream Deck tool is, so you can control them a lot from that device. But again, it's what you have the money for. So there's no need to go out and spend money when you don't have to. I'm all about paying for value. And again, that's why I went with an Elgato card. But on the lighting, I can click the button. They're right here underneath my lights. They work perfect for me. So this is one where I will say you can likely benefit from staying on the lower end of the price spectrum. Next, we're going to jump on over to microphones, because otherwise you can't hear me. Okay, so the good thing to note here is a lot of people may already have one. If you have a gaming headset, you likely already have a microphone. You may not have to pay for anything else to get going. Now, from there, again, you can spend a lot of money. This is very similar to the cameras. And if you go to a Guitar Center, a Sam Ash, or any other kind of music recording pro audio store, you're gonna quickly see how fast these prices climb and climb and climb. All right, so just keep that in mind. One thing I will note, if you have an Xbox, you may require a chat link cable. They're relatively inexpensive, I think between $10 to $20. It's not priced in here. But if you want your party chat to be able to be heard, depending on the system you're playing, you may require a chat link cable. So look into that a little bit more. The two major components and interface opportunities you're going to have for your microphones are going to be USB or XLR. XLR is a little bit more of a professional plug where you're going to need to go through an intermediate device. So I have an actual soundboard. Some people use what's called a Go XLR. We'll talk about those on the next slide. But you've just got to kind of choose what you want. USB can plug straight into your computer, and you won't require an intermediate device, but an XLR will. So just be aware of that when you purchase it. I'd hate for you to purchase a good quality microphone, get it to the house, try to plug it in, and you not have the right plug-in. So most products should tell you very clearly what type of connection it has. So check that out. But again, $25 here for an inexpensive gaming headset to get started if you don't have one. You can even buy standalone microphones for that. I found one like at Walmart. You can get one, I think, for 20 bucks. So just be aware, look at it, find the pros, the cons. There's a lot of different stuff, and trust me, there's plenty of information to kind of give you some breakdown on what different type of microphones are there. Next, let's jump into our mixers. Again, these are those intermediate devices if you decide to go with an XLR mic, and sometimes even with just like a line output. It's an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch, so it's actually technically a third connector type than just USB and XLR. So my apologies if you missed that, or if I missed that earlier. But here are some different mixer options. The big image on the left there is a little bit more of a more formalized mixer that you're going to see in a lot of music engagements. And I'm sure you've seen all the different things for studios, the big giant 78 track mixers and whatnot. So this is something that may take a little bit more time learning how to use, but it can refine a lot of different things, and it can be right at your fingertips, and it doesn't require software to use it. Now, some people may be intimidated by this, and that's okay if you're intimidated. I personally am not. I've been around music for quite a bit, so I actually enjoy having that leverage on my desktop here at my desk. But if you are intimidated by that, you've got products like the Go XLR that has a lot of onboard digital mixing capabilities that you can do in your computer, and it's a very good user interface, and it can help you out. One quick note, the Elgato Wave is a USB mic, and it actually comes with a virtual mixer. So when you buy that device from Elgato, it comes with some software they use for virtual mixing. So just be aware of that if you want to go that route. And sometimes there are some benefits with the name brand stuff to kind of go and get a whole stack of stuff together. but it's all your preference. Now this Go XLR, there are some great things. I see a lot of streamers use them. They're very simple to use. Again, you have it right there at your fingertips. You can have a handful of inputs and outputs and get a lot of control. So you can do different voice changers on their bigger one, like in this screenshot here you see. You can do a lot of mute, different party chat, and some small channel mixing you've got there too. So just be aware, go do your research on these. It depends on what you want to do. I know some people like to have their guitars to be able to plug in. Some people like to do podcasting out of the same mixer board. So it's all kind of what you're wanting to do. But again, you can get in for something like that little line out mixer. The top right image there is probably about a $50 device. You can get something like that that's a USB output from that mixer to your computer for $50. Or you can go way above $600. It's all what you need. It's all what you can afford. And it's all where your budget breaks down. So go check those out. If you got any questions, feel free on any of this stuff. Feel free to hit me up in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help point you in the right direction, even if I cannot answer the question. But there's a lot of opportunity. I really hope that throughout this, it helps kind of pique your interest on different things and give you some guidance on where you'll need to do some more research. So one thing to note on this here as well, there's a software product called VoiceMeeter, and I'll put this link in the description as well too. So it actually allows you to take your onboard digital inputs and your software that you're running and kind of route them through different areas. That is a great tool to help mix a lot of your content on your computer before it goes into your OBS and up to your stream. It'll really help out. I use that. It also allows you to, like through my headphones, I can hear a different mix than what's going into my OBS product. So it allows you an opportunity to have a digital monitor. So check that out. Free product. Lots of opportunities there. This next slide is going to be something that's kind of strongly encouraged if you plan on doing any collaborations. What that means, if you plan to stream and you plan to play with another streamer, what these do is these help ensure with your feet, you can mute your mic in the party chat. So when I'm doing a stream with another streamer and I'm talking to you guys in the chat, the last thing from a courtesy and a professional respect that wants to happen is you don't necessarily want the other streamer's chat to hear you just talking and chatting it up. Now, when you're talking about the gameplay, you're having just general discussion. Yeah, open mic, open party, that's perfect. But when I'm going, hey, Fred, thank you for coming out and liking the stream. Hey, Tommy, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Oh, my goodness, Tracy, thank you for the 3 billion stars. That's stuff that's between you and your chat group. So these pedals allow me to keep my hands on my game controller, and with just a foot kick, I can mute my Discord chat. So that way I'm at least being respectful of the other chats, and they're not hearing all my interactions with my guys. So it's a real strong tool that I do strongly encourage if you plan to do streams with other streamers. They will thank you, and you will likely have more opportunities and more engagements with other streamers the more respect that you show with them. So again, $18 to $40, you can get a 1 pedal to 3 pedal, whatever your little boat gets floated, however you float that little boat there. I've got a 3 pedal, I can mute, I can deafen my Discord, and I can also kick off my replay. A lot of great options. The next section here is what's called streaming controls. I talked about it a little bit, I mentioned the name earlier, but this is an Elgato product here. There's some others out there, but these are what are called stream decks. And Elgato has some smaller ones. So what I'd recommend at first, when you first get into this, is both on Apple and Android systems, Elgato does have a mobile stream deck version that you can use. It's $3 a month, and I think it's $25 if you want to do a full 12-month subscription. So when you're talking about a digital controller compared to a physical controller, as you can see, Elgato's big boy there is $250. They've got some smaller ones, but do a little research on that. But as you're getting started, $3 a month is relatively manageable. So you can jump down that route, get it going. And then the good news is if you go from their mobile into one of their hardwares, you can actually save those profiles and all of those settings will transfer over. So that's another reason that a small price to get started and then get over to the big boy if you want to, and you've got some extra money later, is a good idea, especially keeping with Elgato on this. But again, there's other brands out there you can go find different controls. Some of them are specific to the OBS software, and some of them are just available for control. But again, you're looking $3 a month, $25 a year, up to $250. Now, once you get the physical device from Elgato, there's no additional fees for using their software. It's all included with the ownership of the device. But the mobile is what is the subscription fee. So it's a great opportunity if you want to get in at a low price. All right, guys, so let's wrap this up. So in closing, we're just going to take the next 45 minutes and do a few altar calls. I'm going to get my organ player up. No, guys, just kidding. But in closing, we do want you guys to know you'll need a headset. And not necessarily to be able to hear everything, but mainly more the microphone angle. We talked about that earlier. Having a stream without them being able to hear you is really going to be wonky. Doesn't kind of meet the nature. The camera's a different question. I chose to use a camera. A lot of people have said they don't want to use a camera. A lot of people don't. That's a choice. Your face is a choice. Your voice is kind of a minimum point of entry. That way we know who we're talking with. We really want to interact. When I go into someone's stream, I like hitting that like button. One, because it helps them. It doesn't cost me anything, but I always love hearing my name. And David, Bar Yahweh, thank you for the like on the stream. It's simple. And that's where the voice comes in. To where you can recognize, and you can even chat with your chat. Hey man, what are y'all doing Friday? Oh, hey, went to the movies. Oh, what movie did you go see? You can't hear them, but you can read their chat. So it's really a great way to interact. You'll really need that. Your capture card's a must. Unless you have a super beefy computer you're playing all this on, then you're going to need a capture card if you're using mobile, if you're using a console, if you're using a Switch or something of that nature. You're going to have a capture card. So as you can kind of see the price point here, $25 and $65. My quick math is $90. You can get in and get going for $90. Now, again, some of you may already have the headset. You're in at $65. Let's go. Boom. Now, again, if you don't have a streaming computer, you're going to need to get that. So whatever that price is on top of all that, I'm kind of operating under the assumption have something around the house that you can use or you've been using that'll work. So just be aware that you do have a little stuff to look into. What are the next steps after that? Again, we talked about this on a couple slides ago. That pedal or a way to hotkey it is going to be huge for collaboration. If you really want to stream with other people, it's going to be huge to be able to have that respect and show that professionalism to other streamers. It's really going to help you out in the long run. So I really suggest getting one of those. You can get a microphone. You can spend about $50 and get a decent one. Camera, this little webcam there I got a picture of on the screen, is about $35. The mixer board that we showed you there is about $50, and Stream Deck Mobile, I went ahead, $25. So for under $275, you can get this whole batch of next step items, and you can be well on your way, not just to being minimum entry into streaming, but kind of starting that next step out. All right, guys, so I hope y'all really enjoyed the video. I enjoyed putting it together. Please give me feedback on it. I'd love to hear your questions, your comments. Hit me up. As you can see above my head there, you can find out where to get me. I'm on Twitter. You found me here on YouTube. Probably even shared this over on Facebook. And that's probably where you can find me. But I'm also over on Instagram as well. So feel free to hit me up. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the follow button. I'd really love to interact with you guys. The one thing I do is I do live streaming. And as of October 2020, 2 nights a week. So as you guys can see up there as well too, Tuesday and Friday nights, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time. I'm on live, Facebook. Go check me out. I really appreciate it, guys. Y'all be blessed. Bar Yahweh 112. I'm rolling out.
Hey, who touched the thermostat?